Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment as the Tennessee Titans find themselves in the playoffs once again, and not only in the playoffs once again, but once again facing the Baltimore Ravens in those playoffs, a team that the Titans beat in the divisional round of the playoffs last year, a shocking upset to most, not to me. Now, I didn't pick the Titans to win the game, but I told you all they certainly were going to compete in the game and that they could upset and upset. They did. Now they're going to actually have to upset again. Now it's not nearly as much as a lopsided matchup as it was previously, in terms of what the crowd thinks, in terms of what Vegas thinks, in terms of what fans think. It's only like a 3.5 point spread, but the Titans are underdogs against the Ravens yet again, despite not only beating them in last year's playoffs, but beating them even this season, this very season in Baltimore. The Tennessee Titans defeated the Baltimore Ravens, and yet they're still facing this uphill battle. What will the Titans do in this upcoming matchup? We're going to discuss it today. But once again, if you're not already, make sure that you follow at Sports Fan Entertainment on Instagram, because I'm uploading video highlights and exclusive content on there now, as well as YouTube. I'm not going anywhere, but it's just another platform for you guys to follow me and get more content from me. So make sure you follow the Instagram if you're not already. So with that said, let us first discuss the headlines of the week for the Tennessee Titans coming off of their Houston Texans victory last Sunday. We have a couple of headlines this week, one of which was, by the way, Isaiah Wilson getting caught partying over New Year's Eve weekend. I made a whole video about that yesterday. It really wasn't a video, it was a rant. I made a great rant about that yesterday, so if you haven't checked that out already, go ahead and do so. But in terms of positive headlines, because there are some positive headlines, kicker Stephen Gostkowski has been removed from the COVID-19 list. He will be back in terms of the place kicking position, and I think this is good news. Look, I know that Sam Sloman was out there. He did a pretty decent job last week. He's 5'8", 205. It's funny looking him out there. He looks like you. I feel like my audience is 5'8", 205, honestly. I feel like that's my average audience member. So it was nice seeing someone that looks like us out there playing football. And hey, he got the job done for us. But I trust Stephen Gostkowski more than Sam Sloman moving forward, because Sam Sloman has some line drive short kicks. I don't know about him from 50-plus yard. I feel like his career long was like 42 before last week. Even though Stephen Gostkowski has not been consistent this year, give me Stephen Gostkowski moving forward. Thank you for your duties, Sam Sloman, but give me Stephen Gostkowski moving forward. Okay, is that okay? Okay. So give me Stephen Gostkowski moving forward. He's back good. Now, we do have Arthur Smith news, as Arthur Smith is getting head coach interviews by everyone and their mama. I mean, look at this list of teams that are interviewing offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. You currently have the Los Angeles Chargers, the New York Jets, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Houston Texans. 6 teams that are interviewing offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. He certainly is, if not the most attractive option, a very attractive option on the market. I mean, you're talking about these teams only interview 4 or 5, maybe 6 candidates, maybe. So the fact that he has 6 interviews, that makes you feel as if, okay, this guy's gonna get hired, and I expect that he will be hired. And this is interesting to me. If you all remember, I actually wanted the Titans to have Matt LaFleur as their head coach before they hired Mike Vrabel. Matt LaFleur was my number one candidate. I wanted him after he was what was his position at the time? He was offensive coordinator for I can't remember right now, but I remember he had worked with the Washington Redskins under the Mike Shanahan regime and under the Jay Gruden regime, and he might have been offensive coordinator for them before us. But it was someone before us, and I was like, we need to get this guy before someone else does. And then it should have been the Redskins. He should have been still working with Jay Gruden and the Redskins. We gave him not the head coaching job, but we gave him the offensive coordinator capabilities, which I thought was a great happy medium. And then he was awful, or at least our offense was awful in 2018. And now we look back and we blame Marcus Mariota for a lot of that, and maybe even all of that. But, hey, he had his nerve issues going on, so hey, we can at least say that. So now Matt LaFleur is off in Green Bay, being 13-3 twice. So now a combined record of, 26-6. And he won a playoff game and lost a playoff game last year. So I guess that makes him 27-7. And then we'll see what he does in the playoffs this year. But Matt LaFleur's been pretty damn good. Now he has Aaron Rodgers. Not hard to be good with Aaron Rodgers. But 2 13-3 records, those are pretty good. Now Arthur Smith, he's been great. He actually has been great. There's been frustrating times with him, make no doubt about it. But overall, he's been great. We have the best offense in the league this year for the most part. I mean, you can, if you want to, I don't know, what's it called? Like, pick at straws that, okay, the Packers might be better, maybe the Chiefs, but at least top 3. I mean, that's it. No, it's either the Packers or the Chiefs are better than us, and that's it. No one else is better than us. So, and we're the most balanced, by the way, of all those teams. So, certainly the most strength in terms of like balance, passing and running in terms of putting up points. So we certainly can agree on that. So you look at Arthur Smith, great ability in terms of making this a balanced attack. He helped resurrect the career of Ryan Tannehill, turned Derrick Henry to 2,000-yard rusher, helped resurrect Corey Davis's career to a certain extent. So all of that sounds good and looks good on paper. I don't know why, and maybe it doesn't matter. It's just every time I see the guy speak, press conferences, interviews, I just don't see head coach. I don't know why. I just don't see. I saw with Matt LaFleur. I saw with Mike Vrabel. I didn't know how good of a head coach he'd be, but at least I saw he went up there. He was a good, strong speaker. Seemed like he could command a locker room. Is Arthur Smith really good at command a locker room? I don't know. So for teams out there that are wondering about Arthur Smith, look, his resume is very impressive. He speaks for himself. I'm just telling you, I don't know. I'm not saying that he can't, but I'm not saying he definitively can. I'm not seeing definitive evidence that, yes, he can lead a locker room. But the loss for us is going to hurt because as an offensive coordinator, yeah, he's very good. And I think we have some in-house candidates. My number one candidate from the outside would be Pat O'Hara, the quarterback's coach, for him to be promoted to that offensive coordinator duties. Outside, you could look at, because it's part of the coaching tree, Bill O'Brien. I know. He has his issues, make no doubt about it. But I think Mike Vrabel would give him a call, and there'd be some other candidates as well. But just look out for this offense coordinator position because it looks like we're going to have to replace it. And then the last headline, not a huge headline, Derrick Henry selected to the Associated Press All-Pro First Team. Good news here, not a unanimous vote, only getting 47 out of 50 votes. So a lot of people are upset about this. And I'm not too upset about this. I mean, is this correct? No. I mean, obviously it should have been unanimous. The other 3 votes for Alvin Kamara, who, by the way, had at least 400 or 500 less yards from scrimmage than Derrick Henry. So the argument that Alvin Kamara is a better receiving back, well, what does it matter if he still didn't get as many yards from scrimmage? Now, he did get more touchdowns from scrimmage, Alvin Kamara 21 to Derrick Henry 17. But give me 400 or 500 more scrimmage yards if that guy also went for 2,000 yards and rushed for 17 freaking touchdowns. I think that guy deserves unanimous votes. It's not a huge deal. It's just, another notch in the belt for maybe a potentially, I don't want to jinx it, a Hall of Fame career. I don't want to jinx it. That might be forming and building in Tennessee. We'll see. All right, so one last note, he's not the only one that made the All-Pro First Team. We also have Jack Conklin. Now, Dennis Kelly's been very good at right tackle this season. So obviously we're not missing Jack Conklin. Okay, I'm not saying that we're missing him at all. Because if he would have kept Jack Conklin, no way would have had enough money to keep Dennis Kelly. So for those of you that are going to say, well, Taylor Lewan got hurt, so we'd have Kelly and Conklin. No, we wouldn't have enough money for that. Relax. We wouldn't do that. We'd have enough money, but we wouldn't do that. Come on. So, I will just say, though, this is not a good look. This was a bad offseason for John Robinson. Now, I'm going to be harsh because you know me. I'm not going to be too harsh because there's been so many good off seasons before this because he resurrected our team from the depths of hell to where it is now, being in the playoffs for the 2nd straight year for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. So all that's great. But woo, what a horrible offseason where you let go of Jack Conklin, who makes the All-Pro team. You select Isaiah Wilson, who will not be on this team very, very soon, if not tomorrow, hopefully today. You have the Jadeveon Clowney that did not work out. You had the Vic Beasley that did not work. I mean, these were busts. I mean, these were busts. I mean, Clowney at least played decently well, but I mean, come on. You expected more production from Jadeveon Clowney, nothing from Big Beasley, nothing at all from Isaiah Wilson. So those are two nothing players. You let go of Jarrell Casey, who got hurt. Who knows how he would have done this season, but I think he would have done all right. You let go of Logan Ryan, who did all right for the Giants. We could use him, okay? We could use him. I'm not saying he's tearing it up over there, but he's doing all right. And what else did we do? We let go of, those are the big two. So, not a great offseason for John Robinson. Oh, and then also our second round pick, Christian Fulton, he's been injured, but even when he's been on the field, hasn't done much. Same thing for Darrington Evans, same thing for Larrell Murchison. No one's doing anything. Out of this entire offseason, no one's doing anything. Now, luckily, we're able to re-sign Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, and I'm here for that. Bad offseason. I think the worst. I'd have to look around and see, but I think our offseason was kind of the worst. So that's a little concerning when you think about next season and the season after, because you want to keep building and improving because we may not quite be the Super Bowl team yet that we want to be. Anyway, with that said, we move on now. Wow, I spent a lot of time in the headlines this week. Let's go ahead and move on to... And let's actually go straight to the injury report now. So the injury report for the Tennessee Titans. And there's not actually much on the injury report right now. The biggest thing is Roger Saffold. Will Roger Saffold play? That is the main question for us, and it's looking unlikely right now. As Roger Saffold has missed practice, he missed Wednesday's practice, missed Thursday's practice, so it looks like it's probably going to be Aaron Brewer out there, but then he was just put on the COVID-19 list, and I'm not sure if he is currently... If he either has COVID, if he tested positive. I couldn't find a definitive report on whether or not this man actually has COVID right now. So, but he got placed on the list Friday. So you're talking about now we're going to have to go back to get another guard on the depth chart. This is very concerning for the Titans right now. Who knows right now? I don't really know who we're going to trot in at left guard, considering our current depth chart. Next up would be... Jamil Douglas, I presume. He would probably have to slide in at left guard, and Douglas has had his struggles as we know in the past. So that's concerning right now for the Titans and the injury report. You look though at the other players. AJ Brown, he's had some problems with this knee, and we've noticed this knee thing. It's been bothering him. It's been hampering a little bit, but he's been toughing it. I'm sure he'll play, and that's really it. For the Baltimore Ravens, however, you look at the Baltimore Ravens and their situation. You're looking at Willie Snead, who was out last week. He's been limited Thursday, Friday. He should be back. He's questionable right now, but I think he's going to be back for this Sunday's game. You also see a potential Yannick Ngakoue, who missed last week, but he had a full participation practice on Friday, so I presume he's going to be out there as well. So with that said, now let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's get into the matchup. Let's get into the Baltimore Ravens versus the Tennessee Titans. Who is going to come out on top in this battle of AFC? I would call them rivals, people. I mean, at this point of the history between both these two teams, a lot of people don't even know because, it's the old AFC Central. But these two teams have been battling it out even in the regular season over the last decade plus. And, we have so much history with them in the playoffs, so many significant plays and games that matter a lot more to us than the national audience. We want to continue to beat the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they had our number for a while, but lately we've had their number. Can you continue this? So what are the three tighten-up keys to the game? What are the three things that the Titans need to focus on in order to win this game? Well, number one, you can't let Hollywood Marquise Brown beat us deep. You absolutely cannot let this happen. The thing about the Baltimore Ravens, okay, and the thing that really, really helps us, thank God, because we're facing the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Okay, this guy, and I've been so critical of this guy basically since he was in college, right? I thought he was going to be a bust. Eventually. I didn't think he was going to be a bust initially, but I thought after 3-4 years he would flame out. And he hasn't flamed out yet. Hell, he won an MVP, although now we're starting to see him, retreat a little bit in terms of his play, certainly regress in terms of his play. Why is this? Because point blank period, people, he doesn't throw to his wide receivers. Why? Because he's just not as advanced of a thrower. That's it. In a league of 32 teams that include the New York Giants and the Washington football team and the Cincinnati Bengals half of the season without Joe Burrow and including the Jacksonville Jaguars, and including, still, the Baltimore Ravens were last in passing yards this season. They were dead last. They had less passing yards than the Washington football team, with Dwayne Haskins in and out of the strip club, Alex Smith on a leg and a half, and then I don't even know, did they have Kyle Allen in there for a little bit? Who knows? Who cares? I'm surprised Ron Rivera didn't take some snaps at quarterback. That team, that football team in Washington, had more passing yards than the Baltimore Ravens. Now, some people say, well, it's because they don't have wide receivers. Well, let me tell you right now, Marquise Brown, I loved coming out of college. In fact, I think I either had him 1 or 2 next to or in front of or behind A.J. Brown. For him and A.J. Brown were number 1 and 2 to me coming out of that draft class. I think he's every bit as talented as Terry McLaurin, if not more. And I think if you put him with a quarterback that actually throws to the outside often, he's easily 1,000+ yard wide receiver. And you're talking about him and DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin. The problem is he's with Lamar Jackson, who does not throw to the outside. Okay, that's just what's going on. Oh my God. You might even put Marquise Brown with Patrick Mahomes. It'd be a wrap, people. So, this should not be difficult. Okay, considering the fact that Lamar Jackson does not throw to his wide receivers often, considering the fact that there's not many wide receivers outside of Marquise Brown to worry about. I mean, Willie Snead I think will play, but he's not that dangerous. I think they have that Devin Duvernay. Des Bryant is gone. There's not many wide receivers to worry about. It shouldn't be a problem. And yet, we never remember that game this exact year in the regular season when we were trying to limit Lamar Jackson before he went down the field to tie the game to force it into overtime. Remember that? Yeah, he was still finding ways to move the ball on our defense. But we did limit Marquise Brown in that game. We should limit him in this game. We have Adoree Jackson out there. We have Kevin Byard out there. There should be no reason why Marquise Brown should get open deep. Last week, there really was no reason why Brandon Cooks got as much as he did, but Brandon Cooks at this point is a better wide receiver, I'd say, overall than Marquise Brown. Not his potential, and certainly not in a couple years, maybe not even next year, but for right now. And at least the Texans had Kiki QT2, and I will say that Kiki QT is better than Willie Snead, or maybe more dangerous than Willie Snead and Devin Duvernay. Okay, so we had our struggles last, and Deshaun Watson's much more of an advanced thrower than Lamar Jackson. Okay, it's not even close. So with all that said, this shouldn't be a problem. But last week, even limiting Brandon Cooks, who really was the number 1 target and threat for the Texans, it still was a problem. Even though we knew Devontae Adams was going to be a threat, it still was a problem. Even though we knew Marvin Jones was going to be a threat, it still was a problem. So even though we always know who the number 1 wide receiver is each and every week, we still allow that number 1 wide receiver to absolutely kill us. So even though this is a tighten up key to the game, I'm still expecting for Marquise Brown to have success, to be quite honest with you. And I would say limit Mark Andrews, but I know that's not going to happen. Who am I kidding? So I'm not going to say that. All right, number 2, win the turnover battle. Okay, this will be a game where I can almost guarantee, can never completely guarantee, that the team that comes out with fewer turnovers will win the game, okay? And these are 2 teams that don't turn the ball over often. Lamar Jackson has his fumbles occasionally, but he holds on to the football. He makes sound throws, smart throws, doesn't challenge the defense much. Ryan Tannehill, same thing. Right? Derrick Henry had a fumble last week. I'm sure he's going to hold on to the football tighter this week. No fumbles, no turnovers. Whoever wins this turnover battle will likely win the game because both these teams are so good at taking advantage of those turnovers. And then the final tighten up key to the game is you have to keep the pressure on Lamar Jackson. And remember that huge Harold Landry sack in overtime this season. I keep wanting to say last season for some reason, but this season in the previous game where that set up the 3rd and 17, got the Ravens off the field, and then allowed us to drive down Derrick Henry game-winning field goal. Okay, that key sack won us the game. You got to keep the pressure on Lamar. And I'm not just talking about pass rush. I'm talking about in terms of the game. You cannot fall down 2 possessions to the Ravens here. I know we came back. Were we down 2 possessions? I think we're down 2 possessions in this year's game. But if you do it again, he's just going to run all over you. He's going to get more comfortable. He's going to make his throws. If you can keep it a 1-possession game, that's going to keep the pressure on him because he has a lot on his shoulders in this game. This will be his third straight playoff loss. This will be of his first 3 playoff games. He'll be 0 for 3 in playoff games. People are going to call him a choker. I'm already calling him a choker, okay, in terms of his ability to win in the playoffs. He knows he has to show up. He has a lot on his shoulders right now. He can't afford to lose this. He even lost huge games at Louisville. Remember that Louisville versus Clemson game where people thought Louisville was still the contender at that point? He blew that game. There are issues with Lamar Jackson when it comes to the big moment, the big stage. Everyone's seeing this, recognizing this. He needs to show we have to keep the pressure on him. I'm talking pass rush. I'm talking keeping the game within 1 possession or going ahead and forcing him to have to make throws in order to win the game. Now, what is my prediction for this football game? So you people, I would like to believe. Come to this channel if you're, familiar with this channel. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? You come to this channel because you like when I give my honest opinion, right? You go elsewhere when you want your puff pieces, you want your love, you want nothing but unbiased love and all this. That's where you go for other channels. I'm not gonna say who other channels. You go to, to your articles, your Reddit pages, your Facebook pages. That's where you comment. But here we have civilized, sophisticated discussions. We keep it real. Honestly, I feel like I should pick the Titans to win this game. Honestly, I really do. I really do feel that on paper, and the way we've matched up, and seeing the matchups recently, that we're going to beat them again. And that's really what I say, because their formula, there's nothing better for us than a team that doesn't want to throw to its wide receivers. That is just so great for it. You don't want to throw to your wide receiver. Oh, thank you. That's what we need. That is the perfect formula for us. Yes. That's why Aaron Rodgers rips us to shreds, because that's all he does is throw to his damn wide receivers and his running backs occasionally, and then the occasional Robert Tonyan, but mostly to his damn wide receivers. That's why you saw Deshaun Watson rip us to shreds, because all he does is throw to his damn wide receivers. Lamar Jackson don't do that. He just run. Nothing's better for our defense. So I love that. However, my intuition, I'm telling you, and I really feel this, I would not predict it if I really didn't feel this, is that the Ravens are going to come out on top. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning this game 34-28. And I think it comes down to this. And yes, I'm reducing the entire football game, all the X's and O's to this. And if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. Great. But sometimes this is what you got to do. I just think that the Ravens are just not going to lose this game to us right now, considering the circumstances. What are those circumstances? A, the fact that Lamar Jackson has lost 2 of his last playoff games in bad fashion. It's time he's due for a strong playoff performance. B, the fact that we've beaten them twice in the past year. They know that. They remember that. They've been game planning for this. 3, the Ravens are winners of 5 straight games, have plenty of momentum, and they're rolling and they're feeling it right now. Whereas us, our defense is struggling kind of more lately, more than ever. Because although, yes, we were facing Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson, 2 top 5 quarterbacks, granted, we let up 38 and we let up 40. Not good. Okay? So our defense is headed in the wrong direction, whereas the Ravens are headed in the right direction. Now, this will be a close game. And we could come out and show up, put up the points that we need to, force a press on Lamar Jackson, and he'll, cave again, and we'll got him, and we'll have him. And it's going to look a little similar to the Baltimore Ravens-Cleveland Browns matchup, where the Ravens won 47-42. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring, by the way, but I think it's going to be kind of similar to that. But I just think it's time for Lamar Jackson to make the damn play to win a damn playoff game. That's what I believe. You can disagree. I'm sure you will disagree. If I'm wrong, I'll be happy to be wrong. But you come to this channel for the cold, hard truth. I told you all that we're going to be 11-5 this season. We were 11-5 this season. Fortunately now, I think it comes to an end. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Tennessee Titans versus Baltimore Ravens 2021 NFL Playoff Wild Card matchup. What are your thoughts on this matchup? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment. I'm out. See you all later.